Welcome back, everyone. This video will be a response to two separate comments on Twitter, or X, if you prefer. I will address a post from 𝐂𝐤𝐧𝐝, who I happen to like, and immediately following an extrapolation of her comments, I will then highlight comments from 𝐂𝐤𝐳. As always, I highly recommend you pause the video to read posts in its entirety. That is, if you want to acquire a broader sense of scope. I am going to read just 3 sentences from 𝐂𝐤𝐳's post because I think that's all that's really required. But before I read her post, allow me to quickly summarize what 𝐂𝐤𝐳 is responding to, as that will give you, my dear viewer, more context, and everyone knows that context is king. 𝐂𝐤𝐳 will be, as you shall soon see, responding to the announcement of a new game titled Concord. This game right here. This new game, Concord, is basically an Overwatch clone, which means that it is a 5v5 hero competitive shooter. Again, not something gamers were really clamoring for, but try getting the gaming industry to give gamers what they want. That's an uphill climb these days. Anyway, the problem thus far regarding Concord is that the game is already insufferably woke. There are pronouns in the character's bio, which is entirely unnecessary, and let's not gloss over the atrocious character design of all of these characters for this game. Yikes. Nevertheless, 𝐂𝐤𝐳 is about to express why she is in favor of this relatively unknown studio making a game like this. So let's begin with 𝐂𝐤𝐳, and I quote, "I love this because this is what I've been saying the whole time. There's no need to weasel into existing IPs and demand changes. Make your own things with your own target demographic in mind. Brand new things are awesome, even if I don't personally want to play them." End quote. Great post. Now allow me to kindly respond to 𝐂𝐤𝐳. Now I do agree with you, 𝐂𝐤𝐳, as I usually do, but only to a certain degree. Yes, game developers need to simply make their own IPs, but do you understand why these studios usually don't? There is a motivation for using pre-existing IPs. The motivation is simple. There's a built-in fan base. If you don't know what I mean, just think Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man has decades of comics and cartoons, a huge fan base behind it. So if you're going to make something woke, you're going to want to make something woke with an existing fan base so you have more eyes on it. It's literally that simple. But here's the bigger picture. We all know that Concord is not going to do well, and that's another feather in our cap. Why? Because we keep telling these companies to stop the bombardment of identity politics in gaming. So this next failure will only serve as yet another example to these studios that they should be listening to us and not the Rainbow Cult. So, 𝐂𝐤𝐳, as much as I admire your even-handed and considerate approach to these things, please understand that these people know better, but they choose to be disruptive. Additionally, we must all remember that the money coming in for these idiotic projects are coming from outside the gaming industry. That's why these companies feel so emboldened to keep pounding away at this failing endeavor. The foundational issue here is that the woefully infinitesimal minority group, that being the Rainbow Cult, are the ones screaming the loudest, and they are supported by the mainstream media, and even our own government. Now, moving on to what 𝐂𝐤𝐳 has to say about this whole situation, he has posted some interesting information regarding Concord, so let's read that. He writes, and I quote, "Update. PlayStation-owned studio, Firewalk Studios, has heard your complaints about Concord and ignored them. Sources tell me internal emails show the Concord team is shrugging off the criticism of their characters as white noise." Now, you can't tell me that phrase isn't intentional. Anyway, I digress. And dismissing it. Very much in their own bubble. Yes, they are, 𝐂𝐤𝐳. Meanwhile, their trailer has over 44,000 dislikes. And their lead character designer bashes white folks and is rumored to be the one who pushed for the character lineup to be super woke. They are in for a rude surprise. I would have said rude awakening, but then again, that's just me. Meanwhile, Sony will be forcing PC players to register for PSN with this game and barring it from sale in 177 countries. Vote with your wallets, end quote. That was a lot. But the actions of these corporations are about as blunt as a brick in the face. They do not care about what the majority of the gaming public wants. Clearly. We've all seen this. It's a pattern of behavior. We know that. But their prime concern is promoting the government-approved and corporate-sponsored wokeness. But let's be realistic here. We all know what's coming next, don't we? Concord will ultimately fail, and the corporate hack Ministry of Truth will collectively pump out numerous articles lambasting straight white males as being biggity big bigots, and relentlessly antagonize the very demographic that could be making them money. I wasn't kidding when I coined the phrase, propaganda over profit. There is only one way out of this scenario, and it's mass defunding. Let CDPR know. Let Bethesda, Rockstar, Naughty Dog, Microsoft, Sony, Insomniac, etc. Let them all know their bottom line will forever be negatively impacted if they continue with the propaganda. I keep telling you corporate retards, you cannot force us to give you money. This petulant attitude you have developed over the years is not a financially lucrative approach. But if you need to learn the hard way, so be it. That's all I have for you today. Please do all the fun social media stuff. Follow me, like and subscribe. Join me on Gab. I'm also on Odyssey. You all should know this by now. And I'm now also on Twitter, believe it or not. I'm on X. I went ahead and I broke down and I made an X account. Yeah. things are rough, guys. Anyway, that's all. That's all I got. You guys have fun.